Hi guys and welcome to another FIFA 23 video. EA have just released the first Player of the Month SBC and it is the 84 rated Marcus Rashford. I actually thought when this card got leaked the other day he was supposed to be an 86 rated. I mean, I tried to avoid leaks as much as possible for FIFA 23, but I just came across it in a YouTube video. People were saying like FUT he was going to be 86 rated, but he's actually an 84 rated, but he still has got that striker position. He still had that on his previous card where he was an 81 rated as a left wing. You could still position change him to a striker, but this one comes as the default position of striker. So we're going to have a look at him, see if he's worth doing. I'm probably going to do him already because he does look pretty good for this stage of the game. 3 segments to him, we'll have a look at what he requires and then what his stats are, and then I'll give my conclusion as to whether I think he is going to be good value for money or a good asset to your team. So we start off with an 84 rated one United player in your starting 11, and the good thing about this is that chemistry is basically non-existent for this team at all, which is fantastic. And then 85 rated, again following the same chemistry system, and 1 English player, and then an 86 rated with a Premier League player. Now, if we were 2 months down the line when fodder starts to rise up, by that point, this is terrible value for money. However, there are plenty of 84s, 85s, 86s, and even some 87s that are selling for no more than, certainly with some of the 86s and 87s, some of them are selling for less than 10,000 coins. Now, I think following this SBC, some of them will rise a little bit, but still not too much, because of course, with this being the full release of the game today, a lot of people are going to be opening packs today. But I'll give my conclusion as to whether I think he's worth it when we have a look at his stats. Yeah, it's 3-star weak foot, isn't it? That's the only problem with him as a striker. The 5-star skill moves is fantastic. The work rate's brilliant. The weak foot you can probably get away with for this stage of the game, but it's not going to be great long term. If we're being completely honest, I don't think anyone could disagree with that. He still keeps the same alternative positions, just vice versa from his gold card, so you can play him out wide. But I don't know if his dribbling stats are going to be the best for that. Let's have a look. So his pace, he's got a bit of a weird pace split, but it's still pretty good on the whole. His finishing stats are good in some areas. His penalties, his finishing itself, and his shot power is ridiculous. Positioning, long shots aren't too bad for this stage of the game. Positioning, you can probably just get away with, but you might still want to increase it a little bit. His passing stats, as far as a striker goes, are more than good enough for this stage of the game. And his dribbling stats, his composure, even for what you're having to pay or what you're having to put in at this stage of the game, you're not getting, for a striker, you probably want for an 84, 85, and 86 rated. Even if those particular card types at the moment aren't necessarily too much to be able to buy off the market, getting a card in return with only 77 composure for a striker, personally, in my opinion, isn't the greatest. Having said that, his in-game dribbling, his reactions, his agility are pretty nice. His balance, I guess maybe isn't the worst. His heading is pretty nice. He's got some very good all-round physical stats. And then for player traits, flair is pretty good, but it's a shame not to see the outside foot shot trait, and it's a shame not to see the finesse shot trait, because they can be utilized very, very well. The power free kick is pretty good. What is his free kick accuracy? On his actual card itself, 79. So, not necessarily the best. I'm torn as to whether that card is worth it. When people were first initially saying he was going to be an 86 rated, he looked a million times better than what he looks like there. It is still a nice little increase from his gold card, a +3 rating, which obviously is pretty nice. But when we have a look at strikers in the Premier League, I don't know how he adds up compared to what else is actually available, in this game for what would be a similar price. I would argue he's better than Harry Kane because of the far superior pace that he's got. I would probably argue that he is better as well than a Jamie Vardy, and maybe even a Aubameyang, I suppose, to a certain extent. Don't get me wrong, there are, in terms of, I feel that the Premier League, apart from Haaland and Ronaldo, the Premier League genuinely lacks. I mean, Keane is pretty good as well, but we're talking about currently playing Premier League players, and the Premier League does seem to lack in quality strikers in FIFA. IRL, all of these strikers that you can see on the page that are playing now are fantastic, but in FIFA, I'd say only 2 of them are actually going to be really, really good, and that's Ronaldo and Haaland. And then after that, Jesus, of course, obviously isn't too bad. Nunes, Gonzalo Guedes as well. And this is an interesting one to compare. You compare Rashford to, Gonzalo Guedes, so I don't think costs too much at all. Guedes has got the same dribbling, similar pace, similar shooting. Their physicality and their passing isn't a million miles apart. And yes, fair enough, Gonzalo Guedes isn't 5-star skill moves, but he has got 4-star weak foot. And I'll tell you right now, I much prefer a 4-star combination on a striker rather than having 5-star skill moves and 3-star weak foot. But that's just me personally. So I don't know if he's worth it. I'm not really into doing the reviews so much this year. I'm much more into kind of doing like the SBC analysis types of things, seeing the SBCs as they kind of come in and giving my first initial reactions. I'm not too sure, to be quite honest. Certainly if this card was a few months down the line, I mean, let's say, for example, the fodder for 84s, 85s, and 86s rises a lot, which I doubt it will, but if it does as a result of this SBC, then I'd say he's not worth it. I wouldn't be wanting to put in any more than 100,000 coins in terms of coins itself, or even £100,000 in terms of cards assets. So what I mean by that is if you've already got like a few 86s, 85s that equal up to 100,000 coins in value, I think I'd probably rather wait and see what Ones to Watch has got to offer, you know, over the next couple of weeks. I think he's certainly going to be usable in game 100%, but I don't think he's as good as what I thought he was initially going to be. So it's one of those. I will still probably do him early on, but I just feel there are a few questionable things. I think at this stage of the game he will be good, but long term, I feel he only has got a limited shelf life of a couple months, and you've got to ask yourself that question if you're happy just to get that 2 months shelf life out of this card, and then after that he's just going to be rotting on your bench, as far as I'm concerned anyway. But let me guys know what you think. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you guys later.